Hi y'all, this one is handheld, so it might be a little bit shakier. Sorry about that. I'm just gonna run through how you can set up a studio at home in a small space that's not really ideal for it, meaning that you're gonna have to run some extension cords, you don't have running water in your space, things like that. But it absolutely can be done. I've been working in this studio for some years now and it hasn't ever really been a problem. For your wheels, they just plug into any kind of regular old outlet. You don't need any special electrical equipment or setups, or what. You don't need to know your phase and your 240 volts and this and that. That stuff is for kilns. Wheels, plug it into the wall socket, plug it into your extension cord, and it'll be fine. So I actually work out of a garden shed. Pretty messy now. I've been making slips, so I do have clay, of course, on my hands and probably on my face. That's it. That's where the magic happens. You can see the wheel there. Gosh, I'm real shaky. Sorry about that, guys. You can see the wheel there. Okay. How do I run electrical? It's an extension cord. It goes into the house. It's nothing fancy. So I can have my wheel run off that. I have my little space heater if I need it that runs off that. I have my my lamp, my radio, you know, stuff like that. You know, anything can just run off that. It's not that big of a deal. You want to be a little careful with that, but fortunately my partner is good with that kind of stuff. The wheel is just, you just kind of set it up. You have your splash pans, you throw, things like that. It's not ideal to have it set up inside your living space, inside your house. It can be done, and it can be done safely. This is not a video about that. If you're looking to set it up in your bedroom, inside your house, be a little more careful about that, and check out somebody who does it like that and does it right. Clay dust is not something that you necessarily want to be inhaling over the long term. What am I talking about? Not necessarily. You definitely don't want to be inhaling clay dust over the long term. Silica, it's not good long-term exposure for the lungs. So that's why I like to have it in the garden shed, because I live a little more quarantined and I can work outside if I'm sanding, sanding, creating dust, anything like that. I also have my N95 particulate mask that I will wear if I'm doing anything that's going to create dust. Okay. But as far as the wheel goes, that's all pretty simple and pretty. Oh, is it just like clay now? So this way I can claim that the gray hairs are actually clay hairs. Do you guys think that'll work? Yeah, let me know. But as far as the wheel goes, that's pretty obvious. The question then that people have is, what about the clay, the slip that I'm creating while I'm throwing all of that water stuff? You don't want to dump that just down your drain. You can get clay traps that work in drains. They're really not that hard to set up. It's not a big deal, especially if you're working out of your garage maybe and you have like a utility sink there. Get a clay trap for your drain. Set that up. That'd be great. If that's your situation, I'm jealous and I don't want to hear about it. That is not my situation. I don't have running water here. So what I do have is a garden hose. So I just fill up this is the bucket that I use to throw out of. That gets filled up at the garden hose outside. And then I have this big, let's see. Is that a great noise? I don't even know. Can you guys see that? There we go. So, and then I just have this bigger bucket. Real pretty. So that's where I put, you know, when I need to clean out my throwing one, like I have a red clay in there now. If I'm going to throw with a white clay, porcelain, anything like that, I'm going to need to clean that out. And that's going to go in that bucket. There is clay sitting down there at the bottom that I can reclaim. The way that I do that is I kind of scoop it out and put it into like a Folgers coffee canister. Let more of the water evaporate out of there. Then I will let it dry out on my plaster wedging table, not on the hardbacker board, but on the plaster itself. Then I can wedge it up and it's my reclaim clay. Be careful, make sure that your mid-fire clays, your high-fire clays go in different buckets like that, just for, you don't want to accidentally get any clays melting in the kiln. That is a disaster. And then what I can do when I have clay all over my hands, as I do now, my hair, that I don't want to wash down my drain because I don't have that clay trap, is the water that is sitting on top of that container. I can just dip my hands in there and take my sponge and just kind of wipe off my hands so that they are mostly free of clay. And then, you know, the little tiny bit that's there that maybe gets washed down my drain is okay. Again, when I really need to clean out my bucket that I use when I'm throwing, so you know, again, I have red clay that I've been throwing with when I want to switch to my white clay. I don't want cross-contamination there. So I dump what I have in there and take my sponge, clean it out as best as possible into my larger buckets. Then I come out here to my fancy setup here, which is a garden hose. And yeah, dirt, right? Garden hose and dirt. So I'll rinse it out into the kind of dirt. It's not that much clay. And I don't grow any food items there. I don't really grow anything there. There's some volunteer nasturtiums that come up every year. And there's the jasmine, which is going to grow no matter what I do. So the little bit of clay that I wash into the soil there, I'm not that worried about. If I were growing food there, I probably wouldn't want to do that. I'm not that concerned about the clay toxicity. But I also wash out some glaze stuff into that dirt, and glaze does have a bunch of different chemicals in it that I don't know enough about, and I don't want in my food because I'm not educated about what that is. The other thing is if I'm washing a bunch of clay into the dirt, then I'm changing the composition of the dirt to be more clay-like, and that can be hard for plants to grow in. So I'm not concerned about that because it doesn't apply to me, but that is something to think about if you're doing it in your garden space. So that's it. Couple of buckets, garden hose, dirt. It's really not that hard, okay? If you have any questions, thoughts, comments, if you want to let me know if the clay hair can be passed off, if the gray hair can be passed off as gray hair, just leave them below. Let me know. Okay, thanks. Have a good day.